We have decided to be responsible for our own communities and our own towns and cities, the village as a whole. In reclaiming the village, the main thing we have to do is reclaim our own actions, our own attitudes, our own behaviors. We have to be responsible for that. And through this initiative with Rebound and working with Mr. Rashidi over the past 7 to 8 years with youth build programs and programs abroad, we have set in motion something that would be unprecedented. And what we're doing is legacy building.
When you get an opportunity to have young folks come out, express themselves, and then have professionals who are capable of making changes be here collectively, then that means we're making progress.
My great-grandma Nana told me that you can't change the world or the community unless you change yourself. So with that being said, everybody got to be willing to change themselves before they even come to talking to the chief about anything.
Absolutely.
Or the mayor, you know, so.
Number one thing I told y'all a long time ago, in order to make things change, we have to first change the climate. That's what you all doing now, you're changing the climate. This documentary, this information that's going to go out with music, it's going to go around the country, it's showing that we're looking to change the climate. Because if it happens in San Antonio, and it happens in Dallas, if it happens in LA, if it happens in New Orleans, and it starts to happen in London and South Africa and everywhere else, if people communicate, you see something different. Then after you change the climate, then we got to redirect the energy. That means some of the negative things that we've been doing, we got to alter those, and we've already started. After we do that, we got to replace our vices. If you're smoking yourself to death, you got to be able to change. If you're drinking yourself to death, you got to be able to change. If you're in these ridiculous relationships that don't favor you, we got to get out of it. That's right. Anything that don't favor you, I don't care whether it's husband, wife, girlfriend, or boyfriend. If they're not willing to travel with you as you make this transition, then you may have to travel it alone, and you can't be afraid. That's why the code of conduct says you got to be willing to stand alone. And after we replace them vices, we got to refocus. After we refocus, we commit to it. The world has changed for us. Check? Check.
Over the last few years, we've always talked about what's happening with young people in America, okay? And one of the things that's important, as my role through the George Gervin Youth Center, being the director there for 20 years, we have seen a lot of young people who realize that they were immature, have done some things, and they really want to change their lives around. They want to get back on track. And so Operation Rebound program was developed to really focus on that, getting young people back on track to be positive citizens in their communities and in their families. But we've got to look at how we work within our communities to make sure that when folks do come back and they realize that they need to make some changes, that we can create some vehicles where those changes can work for them. We've got to really stop and think about what we need to do. And I think as you hear from these young folks today, the things that we're asking for, we believe are doable. We believe that this is the beginning, we hope, of a model that can be adopted not only here in just here in San Antonio, but really through urban America, as we look at reclaiming our communities and letting young people take responsibility for what they do.
It's a real critical point right now for these young people's lives, because they've been committing themselves for over 6 months doing community service, getting their education, just trying to rejuvenate their lives for themselves, for their kids, for their community. When they're 24, just like most of these young ladies and young men that came up here, I made a mistake. I was riding around with my cousins and my friends, and they had some illegal substances in the car. And like normal police work do, they gave everybody the case. So I'm a teacher at a public school, I have a teaching certificate, I have a master's degree, and everything is going down the drain. And I didn't know what to do. I'm panicking. I had a son to raise at that time, paying child support, and it just felt like everything was spiraling down. The process wasn't easy. My license was suspended. There was times I had to catch rides and walk to school, and I'm making $40,000, $50,000, and I couldn't even take advantage of those things. Master's degree, but I made a mistake. But I had the resources to do that. I had people around me that was telling me, this is what you got to do. Even after a year of walking and catching the bus, even after a year of having to go to court, having to go to pre-child services and you can pay the money and miss work and things like that. I was fortunate, and by the grace of God, I was fortunate, because now I can stand in front of them and help them and hopefully be a light to them and say, you can make a mistake and bounce back, but there's a process, and you don't have to go through that process by yourself.
I have 2 daughters. I don't want them to see the drugs firsthand. I don't want them to see the violence firsthand. So I think that it'll be a great idea for all of us to come together and make things right, not for us, not for who's sitting next to you, but for our kids. Because our kids are our future, and if there's no one there to help our kids, then what's going to happen to the future? Is there going to be a future to look forward to?
I think to be able to get up in a group like this and speak the way you have spoken is unbelievable, and I really appreciate it.
The ultimate goal is to take this initiative to the Indiana, where we have the Student African American Brotherhood at SAAB, and let us collectively put our ideas together from other countries and other people from around the world, where we can begin to take this on to London, and from London back here on July the 4th. This will start with us on the ground, and this is just a part of the effort. And we're looking out for musicians. We want musicians to come out. We need to become music ambassadors, because we're taking these airways, and a lot of what we're putting on the music just reinforces the negative. So we gotta have music and cultural arts that reinforces the message that we're sending in these rooms.
This is gonna be a model for the world. When you say it's gonna be a model for the United States, Youth Build, Operation Rebound, Job Corps, AmeriCorps, we got all these programs that we are bringing under one umbrella around the world to say, look, we are standing up and being accountable for our own children.
Major change coming soon. We gotta take our first step. We just wanna let the world know we on our way. We on our way.